let's go ahead and take a look at object manipulation. Object manipulation could include things such as shapes. So for instance, any of the preset shapes in the toolbar. It can also include things as you would have them in the gallery. So if you were to search for anything in particular, it could be a gallery image or a picture. So how can we manipulate these shapes to best suit our presentation in Smart Notebook 14? We're going to cover layering, grouping, cloning, locking and unlocking, and animations. So let's first talk about layering. Some of the things that happen or occur when you are trying to layer things is whatever you put down first is going to take precedence or therefore be able to put over another object. So if I wanted to include more clothing here, and let's just go ahead and do bathing suit, for instance. Bathing suit was the most recent picture or object that I put on the Smartboard page, remembering that in Smart Notebook, pages are like slides are to PowerPoint. So since this was the most recent thing I put on here, the layering means, oh, it can go on top, all right? Because this was the most recent thing that I put. So the girl was put down first. However, the shirt seems to go behind the girl, and the pants do the same thing. So that means we need to readjust our layering. So swimsuit's fine. What we need to do is we need to bring the pants to the front. So if I click on the object, I have a little drop down arrow that I can now use to go to order. Order allows me to bring to front, send to back, bring forward, or send backward. I'm going to go ahead and bring these jeans to the front. And now that they are on the front, my layering allows me to put those on top. The shirt, let's do the same thing. Order, bring to the front. And now the shirt works as well. If I click and I say order, send to back, or send backward, now this is behind the jeans. And of course, let's top it off with a hat. Let's send the hat to the front. I'm going to turn it, rotate it a little bit, make it a little smaller, and there we go. So layering, how to put objects on top of one another. Grouping. So here I've inserted 3 pictures from the Gallery of Frogs. Currently, this one I can click and move around. This one. I can do that separately. So they're all separate entities. But maybe I want to put them in a group. All right, grouping's great in case you want to move one thing as a collective whole. So a few ways you can do this. One way is you can click with your mouse or your finger at the board, click outside of the space and click as you drag, and now you have selected all of these items. Okay? Once you have selected everything, so once again, I'm going to click outside and drag across what I want to group. I can click on any one of these drop down arrows and simply go to group. If I click group, they have now become one entity or one object. If later on I decide I don't want them all to be grouped, I can simply go to the drop down arrow and click ungroup. And now, once I click off of them, they can all be separate again. So grouping is oftentimes a really good thing to know how to do. Now, one of the best reasons I like to use grouping is for what's called a move and reveal. So sometimes I don't want to have information on my screen right away. I want to give the students some information a little bit later time. So I might say something like this: Shakespeare is cool. So oftentimes I would have my fun fact. I would use text to go ahead and use that as my fun fact. So Shakespeare is cool as my text. And then I'm going to use what's called a tab. Now, you can do a couple different things for tabs. For tabs, you can simply use a shape, like for instance, a star. Or you can go over here to the gallery, search for the word tab, hit enter, and now you have some preset tabs. All right? So I could do a pull tab. I can also use preset, pre-made ones that you can include text on as well. So for instance, I'll do the pull tab left, and I'll show you how that works. Oh, let me get rid of that star I accidentally made. So here's text, and here's a star. I'm going to copy this so I have two of these. I can rotate this pull tab. I can readjust it for size by clicking and dragging. And now I can group these. By clicking and dragging across, I'm going to put a tab with the text. So group. I'm going to click outside and drag across. What do I want to group together? And now I'm going to group. And now what I have created are two move and reveal entities. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Also with this picture, I can go ahead and ungroup and type my text that I want. Grouping is awesome for revealing information. All right, I'm going to make this just a little bigger. Oops, maybe made it a little too big. There we go. And now I can group these. So I have text and the tab. Arrow down on one. Group. And then group. So now if I was in the middle of a presentation with students, I'd be talking, and instead of having bullet points come up, I would simply go to the board, click and drag across. Click and drag across. And so now you're revealing information. Or you can use the pre-made, preset ones that give more information this way too. So creating these tab ideas. And if you don't want to do a shape, you can of course group with a picture as well. Cloning. Sometimes I'm up at the board and I'm tired of writing Der die das for German, or in English class I might be tired of writing the word Odysseus, or in math class I'm tired of always writing 2 plus 2, and I just want to clone it. So I want to copy it and paste it over and over again. So let's say we're doing a math problem and I want to say, okay, we have 2 frogs. So if I click on an image or an object and I hit the down arrow and hit clone, now I have 2. So once upon a time there were 2 frogs and 3 toads. And this one, I'm going to show you something that's a super secret, or maybe not so much a super secret. If I click and instead of cloning, I say infinite cloner, now you can see this little teeny tiny infinity symbol. I can click and drag out till the cows come home, right? So to infinity and beyond. It'll just keep making them until I stop clicking and moving. So sometimes this is good. I've done this a lot with German when I have kids fill out charts for the genders. So I create clonings of der, die, das, and I infinite clone. So that way they never know how many der, dies, and das's are actually supposed to go in there. So infinite clone is kind of fun too. So cloning or infinite cloning. Locking and unlocking is really important. So what you can notice is when I touch this, I can move it around with my mouse, the same as I would with my finger on the board. That can cause problems because maybe you want the students to come up and label parts of a house. But knowing students, they might mess around and move this and then get everything off of center, and then everybody's labels are going to be messed up. So what you want to do is you want to lock this down so it can't be easily moved. To do that, select the image that you want to lock or put in place. Go to the down arrow, go to lock, and then lock it in place. And now, no matter how hard I try, I can't open it. I can't move it. You can tell that it's locked because when I click on it, there's a little padlock there. Now, let's say you mislocked it. You don't want to put it there. You want to move it. Simply click on that and say unlock. You can move it over. And now you can lock it again. And now students can go up to the board and they can label things. And they can move. They can move whatever they want, but they can't. Like they can move their hands and write stuff down. Obviously, I'm writing with the smartboard, so on the computer, so it's a little harder. So now these can be moved, but the house cannot because it's been locked. You can also animate objects, whether it be shapes or images that you might find in the gallery. Find a flower here. I'm going to go to pictures. Here we go. So, whatever the image is, we can animate them. All you do is select the image that you want to animate. You're going to go over here to the control panel. There's lots of options here. You're going to go to this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 down. It has a lot of the fill effects, so you can use these for color and transparency. And you're going to go down 3 to object animation. You can select the type of animation, fade in, fade out, flip, fly, shrink and grow. We'll do shrink and grow. Do we want it to shrink or do we want it to grow? I'll say I want it to grow, and then we'll say slow. And you can decide, do you want this to happen as soon as you go to this page? Remember, a page is just like a slide in PowerPoint. Or do you want it to happen when you click on the object? So that's what I'm going to do. Do you want it to repeat? Do you want it to go on until forever? 5 times, 10, twice, once? You decide. I'm going to say no to that. This object animation, I've selected it. I'm going to go to the 4th one down for effects. Make sure here I'm on object animation. This one I'm going to make it spin. I'm going to make it spin fast. Once again, when the object's clicked. And for the flower, make sure that it's clicked. Go to this 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Go to object animation. I'm going to tell it to fade out when it's clicked. And I'm going to say normal. Yeah. So now that I've done all of those, you can test your animations. So if I'm up at the board and I click, the heart's going to grow. If I click on the star, right, it's going to rotate. And if I click on the flower, it's going to go away. It's good, especially the one that's going away, because maybe you could use that as a reveal to see what's behind it. So that's a little bit about some of the advanced object manipulations.